Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. My name is Molly and I will moderate our open house session today. So I wanted to quickly welcome you, introduce Flatiron School. Flatiron is on a mission to enable the pursuit of a better life through education. That's something that has been consistent throughout our early days, and it's something that we hold dear. We've had about 15,000 learners come through our program, 15,000 graduates since the beginning. And we run programs in data science, AI, cybersecurity, and software engineering. I will provide a quick agenda today. First, we'll hear from a couple of our alumni. We'll hear from Mei Chung, who runs our delivery team, along with Abby, who will speak to our curriculum. We'll also hear from a couple of our facilitators, so you'll get a chance to meet some of the folks that you'll have the opportunity to learn from. We'll review our Job Search Accelerator course available for our graduates in the capstone phase of their program. And we'll be joined by one of our long-term employer partners to give you a little bit of perspective on what employers are looking for and why they really value working with and hiring graduates from our programs. And lastly, we'll hear from Jem, who leads our admissions team, to give you some information about how you can learn more or get started. There will be a Q&A at the end of the session, so feel free if you have questions to drop them in the chat, and we will moderate those towards the end. So let's get started. One of my favorite parts of my job working with Flatiron School is to hear from our alumni. So without further ado, we've got two alumni, Tun and Joanna, and let's hear from both of them.
Hi, I'm Tun, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about how Flatiron School helped me make a major pivot in my career. Before Flatiron, I spent 13 years as an international civil servant working at the United Nations. It was meaningful work, and I learned a lot, but over time, I found myself wanting more. I've always had a passion for tech, and I started to realize that maybe it wasn't too late to make a change in my career. Flatiron ended up being that catalyst that I needed. I graduated from their software engineering program in the summer of 2019. And from day one, it gave me the tools, the structure, and the support to completely change the direction of my career. My first role after graduating was as a support engineer, where I helped support both internal and external apps that we had built in-house. It was a great way to get experience and to learn how things worked behind the scenes. About a year later, I was promoted to software engineer, and I had a big hand in building out a donation platform and a custom survey tool, both from the ground up. It was challenging, exciting, and exactly the kind of work that I had hoped to do after I made that switch. And now today, I'm a web services manager at a digital agency. I oversee multiple projects and lead a team of engineers. Every day, I get to combine my technical background with leadership and strategy, and I genuinely love what I do. Flatiron gave me the confidence and the foundation to start over and to succeed. And if you're considering the program, I'm here to tell you that it's worth it. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name's Joanna. I'm an alumni from Flatiron, and I just wanted to share a few words of encouragement here today. I'll start with my background. I graduated Flatiron in November of 2023, which I can't believe is almost 2 years ago now. And before Flatiron, I was in the tech sphere, but I was working on the HR and project management side. So it was a little bit of a hybrid between people and culture and actual project management with any activities happening in the realm, which was very lucky to do because it helped give me so much exposure to the tech world, and I've always wanted to be in the tech world to do some form of engineering or computer science. I actually back in was it 2017, started a master's degree for computer science, but only because I worked for a university and they paid for it. So once I got my new job, I transferred over and I was still in the HR sphere, but obviously school tends to be super expensive, so I put a pause on that. But the more I fell in love with tech, the more I decided, let's do it. Let's just pull the trigger and go to Flatiron. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I love the world of tech. I love the community at Flatiron. I still have friends from my program, and I was in the live program, and there was only about 15 of us. So it's so cool to still have friends from such a small group. And that also helped me land my current job, where I was a technical coach for enterprise for Amazon. We do a lot of different things with students, meaning we work with individual students or groups from other companies who want to level up their skills. And I was so lucky to be a technical coach in cybersecurity for a group of about 100 students. And best highlight, I think, is just seeing people from so many different backgrounds all across the country participate in this program and have endless amounts of skill and motivation to push themselves to finish it, because it's not easy. I was very lucky in that I did this full time, and I worked on the weekends, whereas I had students who worked full time and then did this program full time pretty much as well. So I just feel incredibly honored for the connections that I've made, the way that our students have motivated me, and the way that I keep that motivation within me to keep learning. Even right now, I actually enrolled in a master's program for real to finish it this time for cybersecurity specifically. So super excited and super honored and super grateful for Flatiron for opening those doors for me. And I think with that note, a little bit of advice that I would have for anybody on this call, since it is an open house, is one of my favorite quotes is, the best time to start something was yesterday, the second best time is now. We only have now. I know life throws things at us left and right in different ways, and we all have our own personal journeys and our own personal struggles. However, I think everything in life tends to be hard until it's not. And it only becomes not hard if you keep doing it. And if you keep doing it, that means you've had to start it. And in order to start it, you have to go now. So I think if anybody is questioning anything or unsure about anything, if you've been thinking about it for a long time, I think that is your gut and your instinct telling you it's about time to hop in there and do something. Failure is not anything to ever be scared of. I think failure is the only way people ever learn how to do things. And if that's what's truly stopping you, that's a hallmark that you are anxious enough to want to be successful and excited enough to want to be successful. So stay motivated, just get it going, get the ball rolling. And if you have any questions or anything of the sort, I'm sure our team here can share information if you want to stay connected with us. And if you have any need for useless motivating quotes, I have plenty of them. So hope to see y'all join us soon, and have a wonderful evening, and super excited for the rest of the lineup for y'all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm so excited to be sharing more about our program with you. My name is May, and I lead our facilitators and I lead our technical programs. So what I wanted to talk more about today is, what can you expect from the program? And I think really to think about it is in two ways. We have our curriculum and our live sessions. Can we go to the next slide? Great. And I think both of these components together is what makes our program so special, our curriculum, our live sessions. Our curriculum is really self-directed, and what that means is that you have the flexibility to decide when in your day you will be working on learning, right? So if you're working a full-time job, if you're working a part-time job, if you have a family and other responsibilities, you're able to schedule that work around what you need. And we provide a structured pacing guide so that you know what you need to complete by which day in the week. But again, you get to decide, how do you want to spend your hours and where can you spend them best? So that curriculum is really self-directed. We have live sessions, and these are facilitator-led. So our facilitators are industry experts. They have a lot of real-world experience and a desire to mentor, and they will be meeting with you weekly in live gatherings in a virtual space like this with all of your classmates, which could be up to 6 students. And that's where you will be talking about any technical questions that's come up for you during the week. Or maybe you want to know more about a concept and you'd love to have a discussion with your classmates and your facilitator. This is the space to do that. And your facilitator is really bringing in their experience from working in the industry for many years. And so they're able to kind of really share with you, how is the homework that you're doing or the lab that you're working on or the concept that you're learning, how does that apply to the real world? How would that apply to a job or maybe to a job interview? These are all things that you can really find in those live sessions that are led by our facilitators. I'm sure many of you are also wondering, okay, well, how do I prepare for a program like this? Because maybe I've never done this before, learned a new technical skill, or maybe it's been a long time since you've gone back to school. So if we can go to the next slide. Great. I think that there are really 3 ways to prepare for the program. One is technical. We share with all of our prospective students computer requirements so that you know exactly what kind of hardware you need in order to participate in the program, to work on labs and run programs that will work for you. Then there's also software setup, which we provide tutorials on how to set up your environment. That's what we call it. And this will ensure you're able to complete the labs, that you're able to use third-party tools in order to go through the program. So the technical support is there, and that's one way to prepare. The second way is logistical, which is scheduling. Really want to make sure that you have time in your schedule and that you've carved out time in your schedule for daily work on the curriculum. So looking into your schedule, looking at the weeks ahead, when will you be working on the content? When will you be going to these live sessions? Making sure to guard that time is really important so that you can really focus when you need to and meet, curriculum deadlines as you need to, or reach out for support when you need to. And then last but never least is mindset. As a student learning a new technical skill, it's really reframing how you think of yourself and how you show up as a student. So when you learn a technical skill, like you will in this program, active participation is really important. So making sure that you're really engaging with your facilitator, with the material, making sure you're really doing daily practice. So working on the curriculum every single day, that's really important. Cramming does not work when you're learning a skill. It's really about practice. And then last but never least, embracing failure. Embracing failure is something that is so important when you're learning something new. And especially when you're learning a technical skill, you actually have to do it. It's like riding a bike, right? You can understand how to do it, but it's really the practice of doing it that is really going to help you make sure that you understand and that you are an expert at it. So the other thing that I want to share more about is, I'm sure many of you are wondering, what support will I receive in the program? I've talked about our facilitators. They are amazing people who are excited to work with students. They have years of industry and leadership experience in their field. They will be working with you to provide technical support when something just isn't sticking or clicking. And then last but never least, support and motivation. They are really here to make sure you can do this. There will be moments when you feel like you can't. And I think having a facilitator and a mentor in your corner is really going to help you do that. Another way that we will be supporting you is through our Ask Ada chatbot, which is located right in our Canvas learning management system where your curriculum is found. It's real-time assistance when you need it, and it also offers really tailored prompts and code samples, and it guides you through some of that coursework when you're stuck. So anytime you're like looking for just a little bit of a reframe, or maybe you need just a little bit more information, that chat through Ask Ada is going to be really helpful. Another way that we support you is through our Discord community. We are a part of the Bletchley Institute, and they provide this amazing, vibrant community on Discord where you can find peer support and motivation, and you can also meet and engage with other students and facilitators from other industries and connect with them. So if you've thought about, well, I want more than just technical learning, I really want to build a network. I want to figure out how I can really talk about the things that I'm passionate about in tech. This is the space to do that. And this is where you can also be connecting with others on the course content. So you'll all be in this space together and really supporting one another. So thanks everybody. Thanks so much. I hope that was a little bit of more insight into the program, and I'll give it back to Molly.
Perfect. Thank you, May. Appreciate you. All right. Next up, we're going to dive deeper into what we teach. So we have Abby Kerr, who's a senior manager on our curriculum team. And I can't wait to see our tour. Abby, thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you, Molly. Thank you. Hi, all. I'm excited to talk to you about our curriculum. So let's get started. Can we move to the next slide, please, Daniel? Thank you. So I'm a senior manager for curriculum product. It's a really long title, but what it means is I just help design a curriculum and I put it into our learning management, and it's what you kind of interact with. My expertise is grounded with how adults learn in the internet and with technology, particularly like asynchronous learning environments. So kind of like we're kind of talking about a part-time learning experience where you have someone mentoring you through it, but you're interacting with the content of your own. And so I really love adult learning. I love thinking about learning, and continuous learning is the key to resilience and success. So I'm going to jump on in to Canvas because none of this means anything until you can kind of see it. So I'm going to share my screen. And jump on in. So I'm sharing my screen, Daniel. Is that ready? Okay. Okay, so when you log in on your very first day, your Canvas might look a little bit different from mine because I have some administrative privileges, but when you log into your Canvas on your very first day, you're going to have these course cards. These course cards are exactly what you think. It's how you get started in the course. So I'm going to jump into one of our courses in Student View. So this is what typically a course look like. I'm demo touring you our Intro to Python course. Python is a coding language that is used in all of the curriculum, some of the curriculums we're teaching right now, particularly AI, data science, cybersecurity, and software engineering. This course is shared across all of these different curriculums, but it is a foundational piece of our course of coding. So there are a lot of the information in it is used in all of these study areas. So when you jump in, there's a home page. And the first thing that you probably should do when you start a course is look at a syllabus. A syllabus is basically just going to overview what the course is, give you an idea of our grading policies, kind of how you can communicate, those Discord channels that May was talking about, how the course is structured, your expectations, and it'll also give you kind of a calendar of when assignments are due and all of those things. You probably won't be jumping back to the course syllabus very often because most of your course content is going to be in the modules. Modules are just a way for Canvas to pop out your courses. In our courses, we have 8 modules of content in most of the courses. In the capstone courses, there's only 3. It's a little bit different, but in most courses, when you get started, you have 8 modules of content. the first 7 modules, as you can see, kind of have particular names on them. And in those modules, that's what I kind of call our informational modules. I'm going to pop one out. So each of these modules pops out. Each of the modules has kind of 3 main pieces. The first main piece is the informational content. That's going to be kind of the introductions. What is it? An example, a process of how to solve a problem with the example, and a summary. The second part of a module content is applied learning. This is kind of a guarded place for you to practice what you've learned and kind of like practice some of these concepts and solving problems with them. And the last part is assessments. So typically in the informational pieces, you're just going to have, you know, some reading, maybe some videos, like a lecture video to walk. There's some interactive pieces. And there's also kind of a broken out tables at the end of conceptualizations, just to kind of give you an overview of what you're supposed to get from this module. So that's what the informational piece of the modules are. Now the next part, which is my favorite part, the applied learning part, is the part where you are practicing these kind of skills to get ready for your assessments. So assessments is just a fancy learning term for like quizzes and tests and projects. So the check for understanding is going to be something that mimics your quiz, but it's not something that's graded. It's so you can practice it. So you can see I got this question wrong, it's incorrect. So I can keep clicking until I get the correct answer, and it gives you a little bit of feedback of what that is. And so that's a check for understanding, kind of a practice for your quiz. You're applying that learning, but not getting graded on it yet. The next thing is a technical lesson. Now, a technical lesson is a complete guided walkthrough of creating a process. So it is sometimes the technical lessons have a lot of information in them because it's just breaking down each piece of what you need to do for all your steps to be able to solve a problem. The technical lessons are going to look a lot like the labs. The next piece of the content for applied learning is a practice. Now, a practice looks a lot like a technical lesson, but with less information in each of the steps. It just asks you to do something, and at the very bottom, there's a solution. So you can practice everything that you learned in the technical lesson and have a complete solution at the bottom for you to make sure if you are doing it right, and then retry the technical lesson again, or move forward and work on your lab. So some modules will have discussions. Those are completely optional, but there's also going to be a lab, and this is your assessment. This is where you see if you are able to do what you learned in the technical lessons or not. You have a couple attempts on these labs. So just like May was saying, if you fail the first time, that's totally okay. That's how you learn new things and create new learning pathways, is trying again and being able to take feedback and change the mistakes you made on the first round. So these are your labs, usually has tools and resources. There are some instructions, tells you how to submit. And we have rubrics that kind of give you the grading criteria of what your facilitators will be grading you on and looking for. And we use some automated coding tool called CodeGrade. It's not a completely perfect tool, but it does give you some feedback immediately, and then you get feedback from your instructor. So that's kind of the big pieces of an informational module. But the last module in the course, remember these are just modules 1 through 7. The very last module in the course is your summative assessment. Summative assessment, if you remember, assessment is a fancy word for project. Summative just means everything all together. So you've learned a bunch of different stuff in all of these 7 modules. In the very last one, you have a bigger project in a bigger summative lab where you take all of the skills that you learn from the other module and apply it to a bigger piece of project where you can really test yourself out. So the summative assessments look very similar to the labs. They just take a little bit more time. And then there's a summative quiz. Every module comes with a quiz. The summative quiz questions take questions from all of the quizzes in the course, and then also have some harder quizzes questions in there that are going to challenge you a little bit as you move through the content. So that's kind of a tour of what a typical course looks like in Canvas and kind of how it's structured and set up. I'm going to jump back to the slides and stop sharing. And if I can find the right button. And lastly, I just want to talk about how to be a successful student. Since I build content and think about learners all the time like you, I want to tell you what I think would make you successful in these courses. The very first thing is integrating feedback and changing your perspective. This is getting uncomfortable with learning, but it is the thing that you're going to use in your tech career, I assure you. So what I was talking about is there's a lot of automated feedback. Even in those quiz questions, you're probably going to get automated feedback if you're correct or incorrect with answers. Then there's facilitator feedback. They're going to come into your course. They're going to grade you with your rubric. They're going to look through things. They're going to give you ideas. And that should be really where you go and you take them to these assessments and you try over and over again. So integrating feedback is a great way for you to just kind of learn from the process. And the next thing is revisiting that content with that framing of feedback. And my second thing to think about is having a growth mindset and being a problem solver. So May mentioned this, creating that learning schedule and guarding your time is so important. Even if you get behind, just having that piece of every day that you are trying to get through some content, read, watch a video, do a lab, just take a quiz. That is the best way to move through. And I also want to say you are living in the golden age of learning with all of the problem solving tools that are out there. We have Ask Ada, which is like a chatbot, but you also have AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude. These are places you can also go. You have Google searches. No other learner in the past has ever had these kind of things for you to be able to solve your problems and to research things and to learn about things more in depth that really grab your attention in the curriculum. And the last part is building a learning community, getting on Discord and chatting with other learners and finding a place where you can learn through things is a really great way to just really bolster your learning at Flatiron. And I'm really excited to see what projects you make and have you roll through the content. Thanks so much. I'm going to pass it off to the next round.
Wonderful. Abby, thank you so much. Hopefully that gave you a really great kind of up close look at the actual course structure, how you'll be working through the material, how our assessments are structured. So thank you for sharing that, Abby. Next up, we're going to hear from 3 of our amazing facilitators. They are a huge part of your Flatiron experience. And I'll go ahead and introduce, first off, Cernan Bernardo. We'll hear from Jenna Hunt next, and then Tony Kim to follow. Cernan, so good to see you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly. Hey, folks. Cernan Bernardo here. I'm a facilitator for the software engineering program. A little bit about my background. I was a graduate of Flatiron School myself. I went through the curriculum, graduated, and started working for a few startups. I also rejoined Flatiron as an instructor, so I do have that experience as an instructor of the software engineering program. Currently, I work as a senior software engineer for a health-based dementia company. Focused on full stack, so I do both the front end and the back end work. Back end in Node Express, front end in JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, primarily React. So that's a little bit about my background. And then why do I enjoy mentoring students? First off, I've been in their shoes, so I know that venturing into something new can be scary. And whatever part I can play in helping make that less scary, I'm all for it. Like I said, it can be a little nerve-wracking learning something new, attempting to change your life. So I definitely, can relate there. I also get that enjoyment when a student has that aha moment of like something's not clicking, and I love being there when I see the light bulb, turn on. So that's, a piece of enjoyment for myself, and a little bit of a selfish reason of why I why I enjoy being a mentor is, when I'm interacting with someone and they're trying to learn something new, it kind of motivates me myself to also learn something new and continue to improve in my craft. So it's a little bit of a selfish reason why I decided to become a facilitator. What else? Oh yeah. So, what can you expect from me as your facilitator? Obviously the customary things of providing written and video feedback for the assessments that you submit. But I think one of the best things I think that both the student and I get out of this relationship is the weekly syncs. So the weekly synchronous sessions where we dive into actual concepts that students are learning that particular week, and help them, like I said, uncover certain things that they want to learn. If they're stuck on a particular concept, we can dive into that. But I think most importantly is they get to see what it's like to interact with an experienced software engineer, whether that's pair programming on a particular lab, doing the whole live coding back and forth, sharing their screen. They get to see what it's like to actually work with a software engineer and get that sense of working, within that environment. So that's one of the main things that I think students get out of the student facilitator relationship. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's exciting to want to learn something new. It's admirable. So I do hope that you guys can take what I have to say and run with that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your time, and I will pass it on to, I think we have a video from Jenna. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey y'all, my name's Jenna. I'm a mentor here at the Flatiron School. I'm so sorry that I couldn't make it live to this event, but hopefully this video will give you a little insight into who I am and then the mentor experience and what you can expect from us. So let me tell you a bit about myself. I studied computer science at the University of Maryland and I graduated in 2018. After that, I took a job with Comcast NBC Universal, and I moved every 6 months for a couple of years to their different companies and project teams across the US. I worked in anything from data engineering, platform engineering, web app development, machine learning, and that kind of stuff. After that, I moved into consulting, and right now I am the director of engineering for a mid-sized consultancy. I oversee our US engineering department, and I am the lead for delivery on any kind of engineering projects that span across data science, analytics, engineering, AI, all that good stuff. So that's a bit about me. I'm Denver, Colorado based. I love the mountains. If you ever work with me or one of my students, you will just get pictures of the mountains. We'll talk about skiing, all that fun stuff. So that's a bit about me. I'm also super, super passionate about teaching. So I think kind of in all my free time, I spend teaching in elementary schools, volunteering for nonprofits, working with Flatiron School, obviously, as a mentor, and then hosting workshops for underserved communities. So really big passion of mine, and I love it. And that's a bit about me. I want to talk to you about why I enjoy mentoring and guiding students here at Flatiron. I think you guys are taking such a big step in pursuing a new career path, and I think it's awesome to be able to have alternatives to the traditional university, and I found that students here are super motivated, willing to learn, very, very smart, and that's a big reason that I love working with you guys. And I think being able to grow the talent that we have and prepare people for actual workplace jobs and give them skills. It's something that I wish I had more of in my traditional university experience, where, I was learning these skills, but I never necessarily saw how it applied to a business context until I did some of those internships. And I think the curriculum here at Flatiron does a good job of giving you labs that are relevant to building a portfolio. So when you do go and have those jobs and those job interviews, you can say, hey, look at all this stuff that I did. And when your manager says, hey, can you do X, Y, Z? You know what that means and what they're talking to and how to apply those skill sets. So really awesome. I love mentoring and seeing you guys grow. And it's a big reason why I keep doing this. what can you guys expect from the mentor experience? So you'll have to talk to my students, see if they agree with kind of my perspective. But I say a mentor is someone to really help you through this curriculum and be able to be there when you don't understand a concept and walk you through and say, hey, let's take an example. Let's leverage our time as a classroom and work together to be able to answer that question and figure it out. It takes an absolute village. I wouldn't be where I'm at in my career without all the people from my friends in college that we studied for all the courses together, to all the advocates and mentors I've had through my career that have said, hey, you can do this. Like, go take a chance on this, try it, let me help you, I will support you. And I think that's what the mentor role really is here, is how do you support each other so our students can be successful? So I would definitely say take advantage of your mentors in a reasonable fashion. We all have lives outside of this as well, but use them to your advantage and ask those questions of, I really liked this, and I really didn't like this. What does that translate to in a career? There are a lot of avenues that you can take within tech, and right now we're in a really unique point where things are changing by the day, it seems, where every company is releasing a new model, or we're working towards agentic systems and all that really good fun stuff, as well as AI augmented engineering. And so leverage your mentor and say, I'm taking these skills and how does it apply to the real world, or what's going on, or what are they looking for? I like XYZ. And then the flip side of that is, I need help. I don't get this. That's normal. Computer science is really hard. Data science, really hard. These are not easy concepts. And so take advantage of your mentor to kind of further your understanding and leveraging their experience to improve your understanding. So yeah, that's a bit about the experience and what you can expect. I really hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the program, and yeah, just congratulations.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tony Kim. I'm really glad to be here. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, originally from Denver, Colorado. I'm also a Flatiron grad myself back in 2020. And yeah, just to tell you a little bit about myself, my professional background, and my industry experience. So originally, I went to school in Colorado for petroleum engineering, but I wanted to be just like every one of you here, wanted to be technically, wanted to work with code and also build things and make people's life easier. So I transitioned and looked at the Flatiron School. And right after the program, I was able to land a job at a startup down here in Dallas. And I started as a backend developer for about 10 months. And then I worked at a pretty large enterprise level company called Southwest Airlines. And then currently I'm working as a senior developer advocate at MongoDB. And so I've had the unique experience to be able to work in both a very small scale to very large enterprise scale level software company. And so just through that, that made me also wanted to pursue wanting to create my own company as well. So in the past, I've owned a mentorship program, just like what we're doing here, to helping and catering towards students to elevate their experience and get their first job. And also, I've been teaching. I've been teaching for a really long time, especially in the bootcamp space. So I've done that for quite a bit now, and really excited to be part of this journey with you all. And that's a little bit about me and my background and my industry experience. In terms of why I enjoy being a mentor and guiding Flatiron students is I find it incredibly rewarding to be able to witness and also see students succeed, especially from Flatiron School. Just like the other two previous mentors said, I think what's unique about Flatiron School is that it's very industry equipped with the content that they're teaching at this bootcamp. And with that, you are already miles ahead in terms of just being job ready and also just having the practical skill sets to take on your first entry level job. And that to me is, if I could see it from the very beginning to the very end, is very fulfilling. And also, I love to tackle challenges together. I'm all about being team-driven, team effort. And if I could see the result with my team and to lead a team in that manner, I'm always for that. And in terms of also just seeing all the diverse backgrounds, I love to mentor students that are coming from different backgrounds. And that really inspires me as well to do better at leading people depending on what backgrounds they are, and also just be also feedback driven. And that's why I love working with students and students from Flatiron School. For students, what they can expect from me as their facilitator is that first, I'm very approachable and also very, very supportive. And I'm very committed to helping each and every one of you, regardless of where you are at with your coding journey. This is a team effort from the very beginning, as I mentioned. And I'm, definitely kudos for just breaking into tech and wanting to make this career transition. It's not easy, but at the same time, it's going to be very fulfilling. And the fact that we can all do this together is what you can expect, is that we strive towards the same success, and being able to lead and also mentor you all in this journey is going to be very, very exciting. And when it comes to also being a facilitator, I think this is where I also expect students to feel comfortable, but also feel like they are able to grow from their comfort zone and learn from their mistakes, but also just being able to explore new ideas and also receive feedback, because all those together is what's going to make you become a better developer and to land your first job. And so you'll get a lot of that from me and some of these other mentors that they've said. And one of the benefits is you're working with a lot of professional experienced developers, and to have that experience and to have that connection is going to be very, very valuable, especially in your entry level job search. And take advantage of it as much as you are able to ask questions and to get exposed to just what is going on in today's world is going to be very, very beneficial. And with the whole AI revolution, we're going to need more and more developers. It's going to take definitely a village to take on the next generation of technology jobs. And so I'm really excited to kind of help guide the students in that journey, and looking forward to seeing what your future career path is going to look in the technology world. So congratulations, and see y'all next time.
Hi, Tony. Thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, we have a great team here. And speaking of great team, I want to introduce our next speaker, Anne, who's on our career services team. Anne and our coaches have had a front row seat to thousands of job searches over the years. And Anne is going to share a bit more about our job search accelerator course. Thank you.
Thanks, Molly. So we do, as Molly said, have years and years of experience here at Career Services in guiding and supporting Flatiron graduates toward their first jobs in tech, or their first jobs post bootcamp in tech. And we used all of that knowledge to create a really targeted and powerful course called the Job Search Accelerator, which you would engage with during your capstone phase, that will mimic a guided hiring process from start to finish. So you will be ready once you graduate to kind of put that into practice as you launch your own job search. We want to give you those skills, just like you've learned technical skills in boot camp. We want to give you the job search skills that will let you be successful as you put yourself out into the market. So through that, we'll introduce you in an application phase to how you will share that first impression of yourself as a professional technical employee, and kind of how you will share that with the world. The next phase of a job search is usually a cultural interview. And so we will give you the tools in which to succeed in your own interviewing with companies, as well as you interviewing them to find out if you're a good cultural fit for that organization. The next step in that process is usually some kind of a technical assessment or interview. And so we will give you the tools in that phase on how to prepare for those kinds of assessments and interviews, and how to shine in that setting. And then finally, you'll hopefully get that job offer. And so we will be talking with you there about how to reinforce and restate your value in case you want to negotiate for a different compensation package or different elements of your employment. So we will give you all the tips and tools through that process. But what will you learn in each phase? Let's dig a little bit deeper in that. So during that first module of the job application phase, just like you learned how to build projects, you're going to create those professional materials that will showcase your talent, your skills, and your potential. You'll begin by thinking about which entry-level roles match your interests. You'll then create a technical resume to highlight your projects and the skills you've learned in bootcamp. You'll build your own LinkedIn profiles to showcase your enthusiasm as well as your identity as a technical professional. And you'll really just practice and dig into how you will tell that unique story of why you transitioned into tech. That was all part of what will really make you sing during that application phase. In the next module, dig deeper into how you can best effectively have conversations with companies about their culture and their work environment. So you'll learn how to talk confidently about your learning experience. And your skills. You'll share your enthusiasm for continuing to learn, and you'll gain an understanding about whether or not the company is a right fit for you. And as part of this module, you will get an actual practice cultural interview with one of our coaches, tied to a real job listing, right? So it will be a real world experience of what you might expect in a cultural interview. In the next module, we'll dig more into preparing for that technical assessment or interview. So you'll learn how to best demonstrate your technical skills, whether that's through presenting your projects in a professional and thorough way, how you'll work through technical challenges, both to get the right answer, but also to share your process. Most often in these technical assessments, people are judging you on how you think about problems, not whether or not you always get the right answer. And we'll talk to you about how you will discuss that problem solving approach so that you can really show them what an asset you'll be to their business. In that section, you'll also be doing a practice technical interview with one of our technical mentors. And then finally, in the job offer module, we'll be talking more about entry-level job details. You'll be talking about professional conversations you might want to have about what you can expect in the role so that you'll be ready to make an informed decision about whether this is the right position for you. Through all of this, you will learn also what are considered job search best practices. So powered by that job search accelerator course and working with technical mentors and coaches, our Flatiron graduates have learned that there's what we call the Get Hired game plan, which has 4 pillars of strong job searching, which includes ongoing learning. So what will you be continuing to learn throughout your job search and beyond to increase your skills? How will you also create show and tell moments that will build credibility as a member of the professional technical network, and how you'll articulate what you're learning so that you continue to showcase your skills. Finally, we'll also be talking a lot about networking. How can you go out and meet the people who you can learn from and connect with so that you can grow your career and also continue to sort of chart your own path within the industry? And of course, the final one is how can you build a job lead pipeline? What can you do each week to put into that job search effort and strategy to submit quality applications to the kinds of organizations that you most want to work for? So those 4 pillars are what we consider best practices of an ongoing job search. But as others have alluded to, the final one that's not on this is your mindset. What will you do to, kind of chart the course of the roller coaster of a job application process, bringing with it some of the things you've heard before, right? An ongoing curiosity, a willingness to fail forward, showing up and asking for help when you need it, and just utilizing all of the kinds of skills that a growth mindset has within it to keep you going and charting forward in your career as a technical professional. So we're very excited to have you as part of the Flatiron community, and we can't wait to hear where you end up.
Thank you, Anne. All right. So next, we will hear from one of our many employer partners to get an outside perspective on what companies like FDM Group who consistently interview Flatiron grads, what they look for when they're hiring and considering new talent. So Allison, so good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Molly. Great to see you.
All right, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me today. My name is Allison Colbert, and I am the University Partnerships Lead here at FDM Group. Like Molly said, I've been heavily involved within Flatiron, working with the students that are ready to break into the industry. And I'm here to provide some industry insights to help as you guys might be considering, that tech world. So one thing that I'd love to speak on is, what we look for as we are hiring that new technical talent in the industry. So of course, I love that I'm following Anne because I think she gave such great anecdotes. So I might steal a couple as I talk, but not only are we looking for, those technical skills, but also it's the hard and soft skills together. Technical proficiency is always crucial. We want, to have candidates that, demonstrate that strong problem solving, the adaptability, being an effective communicator. All of those are so, so important when you're thinking about, looking to join that tech world. And of course, it sounds silly, but it's my favorite thing to say, the passion behind it. I am a huge advocate where I think if you have the passion, you can rule the world. And so in this, especially when you're breaking into, tech consulting, which is what FDM Group specializes in, those individuals that have that passion, that fire to really get them going, I think they always do such a great job. The skills-based hiring is something that we're also seeing more and more often too. So looking for those individuals that, maybe have a different approach, but are really giving the insights into their ability, their knowledge, those competencies, looking outside of that formal education, those past, titles maybe that they've had before. It's really focusing more so in on those specific skills that are really needed to be successful in the role, which I think is always so important whenever, we're looking to add a new consultant into our program. Another key that I'd like to speak on is, the experience that we've had when we've been interviewing and interacting with the Flatiron grads. The area, it's more of like those networking conversations where they actually see that there's a real person behind the application process, that interview process. And so what I would say is our experience has been very, very positive. A lot of the individuals that I meet with, I really connect with because they come from such diverse backgrounds. They're all self-starters who are really eager to get into the industry and help, solve those problems when it comes to delivering and working with our actual consultants and clients. And a lot of the times, with the Flatiron graduates, I mentioned that diversity, there is a wide variety of individuals from all over. I've met someone that, did professional football at one point. I did a mock interview last week with someone who was really passionate when it came to music. It is such a wide variety of skill sets. And again, that's, so important when you're thinking about the transferable skills that you can take into a role. In consulting, those are so key. And so I have had such great experiences working within those Flatiron grads, really seeing how it's so many individuals that want to work in those collaborative environments. They bring such unique perspectives when you're thinking about what they really want to do and how they want to impact the industry. And it's always a bonus if they've got extra different experience from those variety of fields, like I mentioned, because, oh boy, those transferable skills, there's never enough of them, never enough. Within our program at FDM Group, we're constantly interviewing. Each day, my recruiters have, upwards of 10 interviews where they're, looking to find that great talent. And so because of that, I'm lucky enough that I'm based actually in our Charlotte office where I sit with all the recruiters. I hear them on the phone. I hear some of those, pain points and, obstacles that they've had to overcome. So we've created kind of like a tips of how you can really help as you're trying to stand out in that job search. The first thing which Anne spoke upon is that network. With Flatiron, it is a huge network where you can meet people from all over that have done so many different things. And so it's really important to continue growing that, even, when you're in school, when you get out of school, everything and every person that you meet is someone that can really help you in that career growth. And so I think that is a big thing that when you're thinking about your job search, like leveraging that network, continuing to grow with it, because referrals are always that really great way to, significantly boost that chance of maybe getting offered that interview or role within the organization. Another tip that I like to share is think about those socials. LinkedIn is becoming such a, even more powerful tool where I'm seeing even more involvement on that, maybe more now than ever. So make sure that on your LinkedIn, you are updating it, you're highlighting your achievements, maybe even making little social posts about the projects and the success you're gaining. That is another way that as a recruiter, we see that passion. If you're going online and sharing it with others, I think that is so powerful. So don't be scared to do that. Those endorsements that you can get from your colleagues are always very helpful. Another thing that you can also consider kind of thinking of online is if you've got an online portfolio that you can create to really showcase some of that work as well. We do a lot of resume reviews where I'll be, doing a resume review, and at the top there will be a link to someone's GitHub. And it's always so nice when I can click in and actually see what someone has worked on. One of my favorites was a game that someone made, which was tic-tac-toe. Like things like that resonate with the recruiter. And again, if you're taking the time to really create an online portfolio to showcase your experience and your past projects, that's just another way that we're like, all right, this person's serious, and maybe they really enjoy what they're doing in terms of what they're creating as well. Another thing that I think is so important in that job search is, as you're thinking through the interview process, looking for the right roles, it's really important that you communicate effectively, what you're looking for and the skills that you have on your resume, cover letter, interview process, every step of the way. I think that's probably one of the biggest pain points that I hear from the recruiters is, individuals aren't able to really speak on those specifics of the resume, the skills that they've gathered. So practice it. The more you talk about it, the more comfortable you're going to feel, and that's going to give you that confidence in an interview, whether it's in person or virtual, to really showcase that wide variety of skills. And it's hard. Not everyone likes to brag about themselves, and it can feel like that in an interview. So make sure you really own that power in your previous experience, the skills you've gained, the projects that you've worked on. Communicate that effectively so that it comes off very clear in that interview. And then the last tip that I'll leave you with is, really understand and be perceptive of the jobs that you're going to be applying for. There are, so many individuals that apply. You have to apply to so many jobs to really find that one. I think you need to be intentional and find the ones that really resonate you with the companies that share your same mission, your values, because I've seen so much more success. And again, I know I've said this word a lot, but the passion, when you take the time to really find a company that aligns with what you're looking for, and it meets the requirements in terms of the skills that you're able to really bring in as well. So those are kind of my insights as a consultant in the IT consulting world for you guys. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Allison. Such good advice here. And I particularly appreciate the career pathing piece that you ended with, because there's so many paths you can take these technical skill sets. So between advice from your facilitator, going through our job search accelerator course, and really just kind of zooming in on what's the type of role and path that's interesting to me. Wonderful advice. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Great. All right, so now that we've heard from so many different members of the team, some of our alumni, our employer partners, as we just heard from Allison, I'd like to transition over to our admissions lead. I'm delighted to introduce Jem to talk a little bit more about how to get started and what's involved in our admissions process. Take it away, Jem.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly. Yeah, we absolutely have heard from so many amazing people today about Flatiron, and every area that we heard about is part of our 7 pillars of support here at Flatiron. We are here to support your success and empower you. And so I'm really excited to talk to you a little bit about the admissions process. And then we can dive into some Q&A. So great. So we have done our best to take as much overwhelm out of the process as possible. And really reduce the number of steps that a student needs to take in order to start this investment and transformation that they are excited about. So the very first step is to submit an application, which I would love to talk a little bit more about, and then we'll go through some of these steps in further detail. So submitting a strong application, let's quickly go over to what our application looks like. It's available on our website, upper right-hand corner. You'll click Apply Now, and then it should, oh, for some reason it's not showing up. My fault. Here we go. All right, so this is exactly what it should look like. We've simplified it. So you have some demographic information to fill out here. And if you're torn between a couple of different disciplines, so let's say maybe you're kind of stuck between cybersecurity and software engineering, just go ahead and select either one. It is changeable. So this application isn't committing you to something that isn't changeable throughout the admissions process. So if you're maybe stuck between two, don't let that keep you from applying right now. Go ahead and apply. And then when you have a one-on-one with an admissions rep, you can let them know which two disciplines you are kind of between, and they can start asking you some specific questions about the work environments that you thrive in, the type of work that you are most excited to do, and really give you some different frames to think of these two disciplines through so that you can make the decision of which one's going to be the best fit for you. Additionally, same thing with the start date. These are our upcoming cohorts. The first Monday of each month is when we start our next cohort. But please know, if something were to come up, or maybe you're using a particular funding amount that is going to take a little bit longer to come through, like we can adjust that and move you into another cohort if needed. So pick which one you are most excited for, and then in our conversation and throughout the process, we can adjust it if needed. And then really to submit the best, strongest application is when we need to look here at this free text box. We're not expecting an essay by any means, but definitely we see the strongest applications is when someone is, not to use someone else's word from earlier, but passionate, someone who really understands the impact that they want to make in this in an industry, any industry or sector, using this discipline. So not just I want to make more money, which it's fine if that is part of the reason why you want to do this career transformation, but we also love understanding, well, why software engineering or why cybersecurity? It doesn't have to be as altruistic as this example, but we've even seen cybersecurity applicants talk about a grandfather being taken advantage of because they thought they got an email from a bank and sent money and it was a scam. And so that's what was driving them towards wanting to make an impact on safety, online safety, and reducing scams for the elderly, right? Again, does not have to be that altruistic, but just a great example of why that particular discipline. Okay. Now, once you've submitted that, the next step is actually going to be passing an assessment. So you're going to get invited to an assessment. Please know we do not cap the number of attempts on this assessment. We know that students who persist and improve over time are some of our best students. So high level, it's a 15-minute assessment. It's timed. There's 50 questions. You definitely do not, less than 1% of students are able to answer all 50 questions. So it's not about getting all of the questions, but we definitely want to see you get 25 or more questions. And there are different types of questions. So definitely take your time. You can go on our blog and look at a study guide of it, have a practice test, but you can take it as many times as you need to pass. And it's not uncommon for people to take it 2 to 5 times and then finally pass. So we would be excited to have you as a student, no matter how many times it takes. Okay. Now, after you pass that assessment, you'll be invited to log into our student information system and register for class. This is also your opportunity that we can change anything that needs to be changed. As you're registering, you're verifying the discipline, your pace, full-time versus part-time. You're also verifying the funding or financing option you would like and the specific cohort start date that you would like. Again, we can adjust any of that at any time. And you will be given access to a direct scheduling link so that if you have continuous questions about any of this, whether that's about financing, whether that's about the discipline, whether or not you're not sure if part-time or full-time would be a better fit for you, we can help navigate that with you here in admissions. And so you'll have a calendar link right there that you can book a one-on-one to go over those final decisions that you need to make before class starts. Once you've registered, your next step is to secure your financing and complete your enrollment agreement documents. Steps 1 through 5 need to be completed 1 week prior. So let's just take October of 2025 as an example. That cohort starts October 6th. So all steps 1 through 5 must be completed by Friday, September 26th. So there's still time today. If you are still interested, you can still get through all of these steps. We can move as quickly as you can. So don't hesitate, get started now. And then additionally, if you are coming through a program, a third-party grant, or something of that nature, sometimes those can take a little bit longer to secure the financing for. So apply as soon as you know that you are doing that and which that you want to come here and use those type of funds so that you can connect us with that caseworker for that grant and we can get the ball moving as quickly as possible. Now, step 6, environment setup and orientation, is the steps you will be doing during that week in between the deadline and your start date. This is asynchronously done. You'll set up your computer system, set up the softwares and things that you orientation so that by the time that Monday, day 1 hits, you're ready to log in and start learning right away. Awesome. All right, so often we get asked about different financing options, and we have done a lot of work here at Flatiron to make this as accessible to as many different types of students as possible. So we're not just trying to find financial products for one type or one segment of our potential students. We're really trying to reach as many students as possible. And for that reason, we have many financial products that help students who are optimizing this investment for different ways. So this is something that if you connect with admissions on a one-on-one, we can talk about your unique situation. We can talk about your unique financial position and what you're optimizing the finances for to help identify the right financial product for you. So we definitely see some students pay full upfront. Others may use, savings plans or a trust and pay directly from there. Some even will do payment plans. Everyone is approved for a payment plan. This is not a loan. This is just us taking your total tuition and spreading it out across the length of the program. And everyone is approved for that. But then there are other people who are trying to optimize for paying the least amount upfront or the least amount monthly or the longest amount of time, the least interest. So what are you optimizing the financing for? We can find the product that fits for that. We have deferred options. We have up to 60-month loans that get you under $300 in some cases. And then we have things that are like, 0% interest over 24 months. So lots of different options. And we have historically accepted where we are approved things like employer sponsored where your employer pays us, or WIOA, or instead of a GI Bill, the VOC rehab funds, as well as trade adjustment assistance. So lots of different options. So if you're looking for grant money, definitely check your state, county, and city to see if any of that is available. Awesome. Now, if more questions come up that don't get answered here today, or if you're like me, someone who maybe thinks of a question after the moment has passed, please know that we have multiple pathways for you to connect with us, no matter where you're at in that time lap. So if you have a pressing question that must be asked or answered before you're willing to apply or take an assessment, here are your pathways of proactively outreaching to admissions so that we can connect and get those questions answered. You can email into the team at admissions@flatironschool.com, or you can feel free to go right on our website. And if it's during business hours, we can live chat with you. Okay. Now, otherwise, I want to get to the questions that we have today. So let's go ahead and dive into the questions that you have. Please feel free to right there, if you're watching live on YouTube, type out your questions. I am monitoring the chat right now to answer those questions. So, okay, let's dive into some right. All right. Hi, everyone. Let's see what some of those questions are. Is there a way of putting me on the larger screen? Perfect. Awesome. Great. So I'm monitoring the chat on YouTube. If you're watching live and you have some questions, go ahead and start asking them and we will get them answered. One of the most common questions that we get are the requirements or experience requirements to start. So most of our programs, you don't need to have any prior experience for the program. Only the advanced AI program, and on the main page on our site, it specifies what requirements you must meet in order to do that one. But if you don't have those requirements, we do have another program that is really built for people who don't have some prior experience, but will give you the same end result as the advanced AI program. So with that being said, the requirements for our admission into any of the programs are that you're 18 years or older, you have a high school diploma or GED or equivalent credential, and that you either have native or highly proficient in fluency in English. And then you'll complete the entire admissions process, which we just covered, like the assessment and everything else in that. So, all right, great. So what's the difference between full-time and part-time? Great question. So full-time program is 15 weeks long. And the part-time program is 45 weeks long. But the biggest difference is how much time and energy you're spending each week on the curriculum. So in that part-time where it's 45 weeks, you're definitely going to be able to fit the time that you're working on the curriculum within a already existing kind of lifestyle and schedule. We really built it for people who have even a part-time job, and you need that flexibility. So it requires about 13 hours a week of your undivided attention, and you'll meet with your mentor on a weekly basis every Wednesday, along with your cohort mates. Additionally, you'll have maybe 2 to 3 deliverables that you're turning in those projects as you go through the curriculum, and you're completing projects that are graded. So 2 to 3 per week that you will complete across those 13 hours a week for those 45 weeks. Versus that full-time, this really means full-time dedication. Like I said, it takes 15 weeks to complete. So you're talking about a third of the time. But the amount of time and attention you need to give it on a weekly basis is approximately 40 hours a week. So it is very much equivalent to a full-time job. You will absolutely get to pick and choose the days and times you're working on it, but very realistically, 40 hours a week for 15 weeks. You'll meet with your mentor and your cohort mates twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then your deliverables will be 8 a week. So it's a much more rigorous pace in order to complete in a third of the time. So great. What other questions can I answer? So earlier we were talking a little bit about you got to talk to a career coach, and understand what that process is like. But who are our career coaches? They're former business leaders, talent management, recruiters, sales execs, HR professionals, teachers, and higher ed leadership. Each coach has more than 500 hours paid professional coaching experience. Many are ICF accredited at the ACC level or higher. And we have some information on our website about that if you want to dig in a little bit more. But combined, our career coaching team has helped over 8,000 students, graduates, land new roles in tech. So we're excited to, really get to lead the way for our career coaching. Another question that comes up quite often is, when has everything been updated? So from our curriculum, what you're learning as far as like the technologies, the languages, the curriculum, as well as our career coaching, everything has been updated this year for the current job market. So it's one of the benefits of going with Flatiron Schools. We're agile. We stay in front of the market and make sure that we're giving everyone the tools that they need to be successful. Great. Well, again, if more questions come up, please feel free to reach out. You can do so on our website in our chat or by emailing admissions@flatironschool.com, and we'd be happy to connect with you and answer any other questions you have. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks.